From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
World, it's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with my man Mike Abadir, radio sports agent aficionado. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. It's obviously a casual Friday when I got my ball cap on backwards, Ken Griffey Jr. style, and I got the dog on my lap. So casual Friday here. I'll kick him out in a moment here, but for now, he's not barking. He's chill, so I'm kind of like rolling with it at the moment. But I'm doing good, especially because I get to be on the PrimeTime Angles show with you, Pop DiBiase, before the end of the year, as we only have a couple shows left. So I'm glad to be able to make it on one of these. This exact same time next week, by the way, I'm going to be where your intro just showed us in Las Vegas. So I'm going to be taking my pops there for the last week of the year. Watch some bowl games, watch some NFL action, watch some horse races. So that's kind of where we're going to do the holidays at, man. So I'm doing good on my end.
That sounds absolutely tremendous, brother. And it would have been a good week to take me to Vegas this weekend.
Well, here's why I was telling you, in part because I was hoping you'd say, "Hey, I'm going to be there too."
Right, because I'm really should be out there this weekend. They're having the Riviera Martin fight this weekend. I got my press credential, all that good stuff for it, but looks like I'm not going to make. I got some family coming into town this weekend, and I don't want to miss them. So, and they have to stay at my house. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, who's going to win that fight?
I like Frank Martin in that fight. I like Frank Martin a lot. I think Frank Martin is the scariest thing to all those guys at 135, but the world keeps finding out fight by fight. You know what I mean? The guy is a bad, bad man. And Virgil Ortiz, a.k.a. the boogeyman or whatever they want to call him because he's undefeated, knocked out everybody he fought. He actually got put down by Martin in the amateurs as well, too. So I haven't heard him call him out. So, you know how everybody's calling somebody out. So,
yep.
There's always that guy that you ain't going to call out, though. You know that.
Of course. Hey, when are we going to see our guy, Frank Sanchez, next?
I would think that Frank will possibly be on any PBC pay-per-view at the top of next year, possibly on the Spence card as well, depending on where they're going to do the Spence fight at. But we should be getting some word back about Frank very, very soon because he does need he's still a very top, heavyweight and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So pretty much we need to, he should be back in the mix very, very soon because heavyweight division is going to have a big year this year from what I see.
Good deal, man. Well, I'm hoping that that you and I can reconnect with him at some point during this run to the top.
Yeah, well, Frank's always there. He'll be around. Everything will be good. All right, so let's jump into our first topic in hand. Mike, and that's going to be last night. 49ers win the NFC West with the sweep of the Seahawks, winning 21-13. Are they SB bound? That's the question. But first,
that game wasn't as pretty as it looked. You got to get it there. It wasn't as pretty as it looked. This game was more known for two things to me, which is the guy that you're just showing there, Kittle, having a dominant first half. And some bad calls, some bad roughing the passer calls that ruffled up anti-referee sentiment they always get every week on Twitter. There's always a group of people like worst refs of all time. It's the worst officiated game of all time. Refs are just getting worse and worse and all that kind of stuff. Well, the refs kind of earned their crap talking, against them last night. But that stuff kind of happens. ultimately, it really came down to Geno Smith and the offense really not being able to fire away, Pop. And it's funny because just a couple of weeks ago, I was telling people, probably telling you, I don't even remember on the show when we've had you on, that I kind of thought that the Seattle Seahawks were going to maybe win this division. Boy, I was wrong. Since I've said that, they've done is lost, and all the Niners have won. So I was really hoping that last night was the battle for first place and not the battle for clinching. You know what I mean? Like I was hoping, Seattle wins and then they are now tied. So now going into the last couple of games of the season, it's going to be a slugfest. I didn't think that the Niners are going to clinch their division yesterday, but hey, man, maybe Seattle, not maybe. I think we kind of know now that Seattle probably was playing way over their heads in the first, 6, 7, 8 games of the year.
Well, Seattle, I had some notes on Seattle yesterday that I talked about on my show. They're 5-3 as an underdog this year. So they played really played to they didn't play to their expectations, dude. They played this year. You know what I mean? And they were not supposed to be a good team this season. Everybody had that already etched in their head that they weren't going to be a good team at all this year. That it would be great if they got 4 or 5 wins this year because they really did struggle immensely last year. So when you look at the Seahawks and what's happening over these last few weeks, all it is that everything caught up with them at this time. I think that they played a schedule that we thought was a hard schedule the first 8 weeks of the season, but it wasn't. And they didn't take Seattle as serious as they should have. And I think that we should have all got the memo when Seattle beat Denver the way that they did opening night. But Denver did hand that game to them. So, pretty much that's where I see Seattle at, is that Seattle was a team that was front running, and pretty much they got caught. Mike, it happens all the time. We'll watch the Kentucky Derby. The 40-1 horse jumps out. He's 6 lengths ahead when we get around the corner. But that doesn't mean he's going to win the race. He might not even be in the money at the end of the race. You know what I mean? They just got out to the races a little bit quicker. San Francisco had to go through the motions of some things as well. And everybody actually brought it for San Francisco. They were having offensive issues. It's never been about the defense being bad this season with the San Francisco 49ers. And that's what really, to me, won the game for them last night, was great defense and in the trenches, because that offensive line was really, really good. And that's why I said that we're going to get on in a second, because I'm going to ask you real quick your thoughts on Purdy. And do you think that, is it getting a little out of hand? But I'm just finishing my point real quick. Seattle is a team that I did not, and I told you this when we did the show, that I did like them to possibly beat the Niners at the end because the way Pete Carroll handles Shanahan. But I kind of knew in the back of my head, if this San Francisco team plays like they did last year at the end of the year, they should not have any issues. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, Mike. But what are your thoughts on Purdy? And do you feel like the NFL Twitter and NFL fans and NFL media are going a little bit crazy, like whoa type situation? They're already talking about Jimmy G and Trey can go ahead and find another job. I don't know about all that, but I'm going to explain to you exactly who he is, because this guy was a 49er too when the 49ers were really were at the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? I'm talking about 80s, 90s type stuff. So what are your thoughts on that real quick, Mike, about Purdy and the hype that's surrounding Purdy now, since, he's won 3 in a row?
Well, what I'll say about it is this. I would slow my roll a little bit if I'm 49ers or Purdy enthusiasts. He's had some nice games. He's been pretty efficient, right? It's interesting though, but when you look at if you look at just data first, just look at the stats, the numbers, you'll see that his passer rating has been pretty good. He's got that 100 passer rating, which suggests that he's efficient and doing his thing. His QBR though is, okay. so. And so, it's kind of like one of those things where I'd like to see a little bit more on the advanced analytics and what it says. To me, believe it or not, Pop, somebody's record means very little to me. Like, why the heck why would I overvalue 3-0 when there's 10 other guys on offense, 11 completely different, unique individuals on defense, and then a bunch of unique individuals on special teams? So we're talking in terms of actual starters and long snappers and kickers and punters and everything. We're talking about what, 27, 28 unique individuals that start games. And we're going to give credit to him for being 3-0. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't hold Geno Smith and the offense at bay, right? He is going up against a team that is depleted with the running back core guys coming off injuries, other guys getting hurt. At one point, all three running backs were, on the injured report. Yeah, man. I mean, he's done a nice job. He hasn't done anything wrong, but I'll leave you with this thought as we wrap up the Purdy conversation. If you notice in baseball, a lot of times you'll see a rookie pitcher come in and keep a lineup in check. They've never seen him before, right? They don't know what to expect. They haven't seen the rotation. They haven't seen it come out of his hand. And so you'll see a lot of pitchers come up to the big leagues and have really good first outings. Sometimes they'll even have good second outings. By the third or fourth, then you pick him up in fantasy baseball, and then he gets rocked, right? It doesn't take very long for pros to figure your game out. And so we see that a lot in the NFL too. There's a lot of guys that come in and win their first game, especially in the last 10 years because of the way they get coached up and the way that they get coaches, coordinators game plan to make it manageable for their young quarterback so he doesn't have deer in headlights. And I've just seen that way too many times where they get stopped dead in their tracks, right? So I would say even if they went out, even if they win a playoff game or two, talk to me if he could get through next year and compete at a high level. Because I bet you anything, if everybody's on this high and he overtakes Lance and Jimmy and he's opening day starter next year, and then they get rocked 40-3 on opening day, not everybody's going to be like still down with Jimmy like they were 3 hours prior to that game. You feel me?
Right.
So I've just seen this happen way too many times.
Well, my 2 cents on it is this, man. I'm looking at Purdy's numbers last night. He threw for 17 for 26. He threw for 217 last night, 2 touchdowns. Seriously, with the way that they played defense last night, that's all they needed. The defense got 3 sacks last night. The secondary had, I'm seeing it right now, 7 passes defensed. They forced 2 fumbles last night as well, too. So this team was playing great football last night, regardless of anything. Yeah, they didn't force any turnovers, but they made Geno really, really have to work for everything he got last night. So when you have a defense like this, it's like when the Ravens, in a sense, when they won the title in the early 2000s, is that you have, I call it a walk with me defense. You know what I mean, Mike? Where this defense is literally like a big brother, and they make sure you can walk to school and nobody's going to bother you. You know what I mean?
Good analogy. I like that.
And so pretty much it's a walk with me defense. You know what I mean? That's what they tell the offense. Walk with me and you'll be fine because I got your back. And a lot of NFL teams do not have that luxury to have a defense that has their back. So offense is going to play with a little bit more confidence when they know their defense can get stops. And that's exactly what the 49ers are doing right now. They're taking advantage of a great defense and a great offensive line and some really good playmakers as well too. And the running game was the part that won them the game last night. Big run from their third string running back, because nobody talks about how they've been how they had to rotate running backs, and it doesn't matter. And once again, a running back's going to look great with this team because the offensive line is that good. And Purdy's going to look great too because the offensive line is holding them upright. They were stonewalling the Seahawks last night, but the Seahawks don't have a good defense anyway.
No.
The Seahawks have given up. Okay, they played the Raiders. I think didn't the Raiders score 40 on them? And they played then the next week they played the Panthers. The Panthers went ahead and put it on them as well too. Well, no. They played the Rams and they gave 23 to the Rams. That's not much, but still they were giving up points in that game. Then they come back around, get 27 scored on them the next week by the Panthers. And the Panthers don't have once again, the Rams and the Panthers don't have good offenses, and they were able to do what they wanted. The Raiders looked like a Madden squad out there against them when they played against them. And the Raiders seem to be limited to only getting 20 points. You know what I mean? In a lot of these games. So, they finally played some good defense somewhat last night, but that's because they had 3 days, because it's only 3 days of rest. And, both teams are pretty banged up going into these games. I never expect these teams to go absolutely nuts. So I truly do feel like Purdy is just inherited a great situation. Would he be able to be doing this on the Texans? Absolutely not. But if you put it with the 49ers, yes, this is all things possible because this is my mantra with it. This is what he's been told. Don't F it up. We got everything in place here that's perfect. Don't F it up. That's exactly what was told to Jimmy as well, too. The only person that has a little bit of leeway to be somebody who to be a superhero out there is Trey Lance because he's mobile. So, and that you saw how that worked out. They got the guy hurt. So pretty much at the end of the day, it's a system situation with the 49ers. And it reminds me so much of when they had you're going to trip when I put this name out for you too, because this is really going into the crates right here. Steve Bono. Steve Bono.
Yeah.
And Steve Bono was the third string quarterback. And I remember Montana and Young were hurt. They threw in Steve Bono. Steve Bono was the starter for a month. And he was I thought he was the best one out the group. And guess what number he wore, Mike?
13?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So it's just Steve Bono 2.0. Steve Bono went to the Chiefs and was an absolute mess. So let's not start this talk about he's going to be, because they try to say that in San Francisco too. Like Bono might be able to play Young in Montana. Well, Steve Bono is still not in the Hall of Fame, and Young and Montana are. So I think that fans really don't know what the hell they're talking about.
No, they definitely don't, man. And let me tell you something. Oh, go ahead. I thought you were.
I'm done. But
okay, so
I do want to move on. But go ahead.
Okay, so let me say one more thing real quick. The only thing better than being able to heave the ball, just like huck it down the field to try to get to Tyreek Hill, or to connect with your stud second-year wideout Waddle, is to be able to have Christian McCaffrey behind you, is to have George Kittle in front of you, is to have Ayuk and Debo. I know Debo's hurt, but Ayuk and Debo and Jennings and all these guys catching balls from you, is to have a line that keeps you upright. Yeah, not a bad situation, bro. There's a lot of NFL quarterbacks. You could probably put Marcus Mariota back there and have him go 3-0 in these last 3 games. I'm not trying to poo-poo on Purdy. I'm just saying he's got some weapons at his disposal. The thing I do like is he hasn't had happy feet, and he's had poise back there. And so those are good signs. Let's just see if we could keep it going.
Right. And see, the reason why I know I can't believe in what the 49ers are doing, because when the playoffs roll around, it's a different animal. It's a different beast. And you have to be one of those guys. And he's not one of those guys. I'm sorry. It's just, and I'm not hating on you, San Frisco, because I love everything else that you have. But you guys have to pipe down about the quarterback, because you know that it's all about the system, and it's a video game controller for Shanahan on this situation. You know what I mean? So once again, his job is to not F it up. It's that simple. So let's go ahead, move forward, and talk about a squad that is near and dear to us. And you know, they do get, to me, they always will get a lot of say. And I just wanted to bring it up because I was going to do World Cup. I said I haven't talked about World Cup like literally at all on the show. So that would be a disservice to that would just be silly. You know what I mean? I would be doing exactly what they do on these talking head shows, like what they did to the World Series. Oh, we're not going to talk about the World Series till we get a game, until we see Mattress Mac talking about his money. So, you know, pretty much, you know, we're not going to do that here. So should the Raiders keep Derek Carr after the season? Mike, I'm going to let you go first.
Absolutely, 100% yes.
And
I don't think it should be a question, Pop.
And do you feel that the perception of fans is more about frustration about wanting to be one of the elite teams in the NFL? And do you feel like they keep scapegoating him to really, you know, not look at what the true problem is? A really bad defensive scheme and a coach that just does not have the respect of his players.
Man, don't even get me started on it. You know how I felt about McDaniel for a long time now.
Right.
I'm just not a fan of this guy. I don't know if they respect him or don't respect him. I just don't think he's head coach material, man. He's just not the guy.
Well,
I mean, look, man, let me tell you this. Going back to Derek Carr, he's not the reason that they're losing games. Do you know how long the Raiders have been looking for a franchise quarterback? They got lucky with Rich Gannon, right? They signed him as a backup. They didn't sign him thinking he was going to be back-to-back MVP candidates. You know what I mean? Like he was going to nail down the MVP like he did. You know, he was a guy that was going to be competing as a backup. And Gruden saw something in him, worked with him endlessly. And you know, this is a guy that was a backup for like 10 years before he was with the Raiders. So besides him, Raiders haven't had anybody since like Stabler, Plunkett. I mean, really, what great quarterbacks have they had? They've gone through so many over the years. Now you finally got one and you want to get rid of him? This guy has a very high completion percentage year in, year out. He's tough. He's a great guy on and off the field. He's liked and respected in the locker room. Why would you want to do away with that? Seriously. To me, it's ridiculous. He's the one that single-handedly recruited Devontae Adams to come to the team. His old college throwmate. Devontae wouldn't have come to the Raiders if it wasn't for Carr. So imagine now this team without Carr or Devontae. How about that? Picture that for a moment. What does this team look like? Trash. So I'm tired of hearing about this. We should move off of Derek Carr. F that noise. Who are you going to get that's better? Again, I'm going to bring up his name, poor guy, Marcus Mariota.
There is.
You know, what's his name over in Carolina? The SC guy, redhead dude. What's his name? I'm forgetting because he's so unremarkable.
Right.
You know, I mean, come on, people. Seriously, what is it about Carr that? Tell me 3 things about Derek Carr that you guys don't like. I just don't understand it, Pop.
Well, my biggest thing is this. I said, what the hell? What are we looking at when we blame Derek Carr for every reason why the Raiders have given up double-digit leads? That's all on the defense, buddy. I don't care what anybody says. That's all on the defense, okay? How does the quarterback put you in position to win the game and you're putting the blame on him because the defense didn't do their part? That's idiotic, Mike. You know what I mean? It's stupid. Like, look, we've been dealing with the Raiders for a long time, 30 plus years. And every time the Raiders have had issues in winning a game where a team comes back, it's because the defense gave up the game. How many times have we sat up there and seen that defense literally just sell the game? Just go ahead and just give it away. Countless times. And that's why I said it's funny that you guys keep showing his face every time there's a comeback made on the Raiders. How was it Derek Carr's fault? If you're up 20-7 at halftime and they're starting to get stops now in the second half, what's wrong with my defense not still playing the same game that they play early on?
Right.
You
Hey,
know what I mean?
can I prove kind of what you're saying numerically for a quick second?
Go ahead.
In terms of points for, I think this would surprise a lot of people. Would we agree, just generally speaking, right? I mean, don't nitpick it. Just generally speaking, when you say the best offenses in the AFC are Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami, and Cincinnati Bengals, generally speaking, would you think that's fair?
Yep.
Those in the entire AFC, the Raiders have scored every single team except for Kansas City, Buffalo, Miami, and the Bengals. They've outscored every single other AFC team. The offense done their thing, man. Carr's done his thing. The only thing that I can quibble about is they, as a team, this isn't a Carr thing, but it's as a team thing, they haven't put together many games where they've played at a high level all 4 quarters.
Right.
You know, they've looked like world beaters maybe for like until halftime. And
Right.
I blame that 100% Pop on coaching. Play calling. It's like, why are you changing what got you there? Don't try this run out the clock. It's still 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. You know what I mean? So that's the problem with the Raiders. Coaching and play calling. It ain't Carr. It ain't the offense. Jacobs has had his best year ever by far. Devontae Adams still a beast. And keep in mind something. They haven't had like Waller. They haven't had Renfro. Renfro hasn't done crap this year. Right? Matt Collins has been the second best offensive player in the passing game. So, yeah. I just wanted to add that about the offense because I still think it's very unfair. This team is putting up points, man. Top 5 in AFC. What more do you want?
Right. I totally agree. And I think that there's just a lot of things that the Raiders have to look at. And and we say the coaching and we say this, that, and the third, but it all goes back to Mark Davis and the decision making Mark Davis keeps making. He knew that McDaniels wasn't going to be an easy sell. You know, he just is so enthralled with trying to be like the Patriots, which is something his dad never did. You need to be a Raider first. Forget that. The Raiders have made their own code of the streets in the NFL. You know what I mean? And they were probably the first team that did that in the NFL that really separated themselves from the rest of the pack. They weren't all vanilla like everybody else. So what he has to do is he has to start thinking a little bit better and stop trying to be such a tycoon and all whatever he's trying to do, Mike. You know what I mean? Because he was almost like he was very normal in Oakland. You know what I mean? He didn't seem like a rich guy in Oakland, California at all. But here in Vegas, he just seems like he's acting like a high roller over at Caesar's Palace right now. And he kind of is making decisions on like what would be the most popular decision for the media to like. And I'm like, that's not what the Raiders do, bro. That's not what they do. They're not here to please a media situation. The Raiders are here to want to win football games, have the craziest crowd there is, because the Raiders are probably the only team that has a significantly minority group. We all know this too, Mike. You know this as well too. That when you go to a Raider game, you see all colors. You know what I mean? And you might not have that with every team in the NFL. You know, so you truly do have a great situation here. You got one of the more popular teams in the NFL because the Raiders, their fans never take any seasons off. Okay. The Raiders can be 1-15 and they're still going to have the loudest fans in the room. You know what I mean? And same thing goes for the Cowboys. Those are the only two teams I know that I've never not seen their fans go hard for them or have, and I'm talking about go hard for them in a good way and go hard for them in a bad way. You know what I mean? So it's always something, you know what I mean? And I think that Mark Davis is too busy trying to be everybody's best buddy and not making the better owner decisions. We all knew that he should have kept the coach that we had in there last year who got them to the playoffs. He was a hell of a coach, and he was a leader of men. You know what I mean? He wasn't and the funny thing was he was the special teams coach. And I think Bisaccia, got a really shitty end of the stick. Yeah, I'm a cuss right there, Mike. And I think that, Mark Davis want to get a name so the media could have something to jump on. You know what I mean? Like, they literally didn't even give our guy Bisaccia a chance after the season was over. They were literally already calling for who are they going to bring in? You know what I mean? I said, why are we talking about who are we going to bring in? You guys finally got a coach and a coaching staff that the team and everybody is in unison with. And literally, yeah, it was John Gruden's staff that was put there. But John Gruden wasn't getting the same results out of that group that Bisaccia got, because Bisaccia was managing the team. John Gruden was trying to be the biggest star on the team. There's a difference. You know what I mean? So I think that all in all, Derek Carr should be staying because his contract is hefty. And who is better than Derek Carr right now that you can get? There's no quarterback in the draft that's better than Derek Carr. I don't care what you guys say, because I know the quarterback position. I know the quarterback position very well. None of those guys are Sunday guys. They're Sunday guys, but they're backups, Mike, at best. All of them. Yeah, I said it. I wouldn't want to be throwing CJ Stroud in there immediately. I wouldn't want to throw Bryce in there immediately. And who else do we have here? Hendon's hurt. You know what I mean? And Stetson is Chris Winkie. All right, let's just already just put that to rest right now. Stetson is a product of playing with great teammates. You know what I mean? So I don't see anything that the best quarterback, believe it or not, Mike, is a sophomore, McCarthy. I hate to say it too, because I can't stand Michigan, but the Michigan quarterback to me is probably the best one out the group that's playing in the Final Four this year. You know what I mean? So I truly do feel like this could be a big offseason for the Raiders if they play this thing correctly. But I know you don't like McDaniels, but my thing is, let's stop bringing in a new coach every year as well too. You know what I mean? I think that, okay, let's just try to finish out the season, see how he finishes up. If he finishes up, say 9-8, 8-9, we can go ahead and try to let's do this thing all over again. But let's go ahead and get some of this dead weight off the team as well too. So that's my 2 cents on that, Mike.
Agree with all your points, man.
Yep. All right. So what we will do, we will move on to the Las Vegas Bowl. And we don't have to talk about this too long, Mike, because it's just a bowl game. And, I just want to see who you like in this bowl game, to be honest with you. Because, if it was just me doing the show today, I'd have had the full bowl game up and went through all the notes on the against the spreads and all that stuff. But what are your thoughts on this game between Florida and Oregon State? This is the first game between this is the first bowl game between an SEC school and a Pac-12 school in like 50 years, 40 years, something like that. They said last time they met up was like 1977 in a bowl game where it was an official bowl game for them.
Something I saw showed that the money on this game is exactly down the middle, 50-50. It's like the only bowl game that I've seen that's like that. I've seen one that's 51-49, but the rest of them are pretty skewed, closer to like 60-40.
Right.
This is right down the middle, 50-50. I think the line is a tad bit high. I think Oregon State wins the game. They're really surging. They're kind of the unheralded team in the Pac-12. They've really had a remarkable turnaround, and I think they're building something special. But that's a lot of points, man. It's not a game that I'd be touching unless I'm using a money line in a parlay or something like that on Oregon State. If I had to lean somewhere, I'd probably take the points.
Well, Mike, you know me, I'm getting a little crazy here, man. And I know Florida is not Urban Meyer is not walking through that door. Okay, I know that. Steve Spurrier's not walking through that door. I know that. You know what I mean? Tim Tebow's not walking through that door. I know that. Danny Werfel is not walking through that door. I know that. And, the list goes on and on, because this Florida team is not the Florida team that we came accustomed to over the last 20 years. They ain't even been much of anything the last 5 years. But one thing about Florida is they seem to always step it up in a bowl game. And, the SEC, it's always a lot of eyes on the SEC in these bowl games. You know that, Mike, because everybody's always like, well, you think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Show us how good you are. Since you said that your ninth place team can beat anybody's first place team in a major conference. All that BS that y'all be kicking. So I am going out on a limb and I'm taking a plus 260 because when I see a money line, if you're giving me a spread at 10, right, Mike, and you're giving me the money line at plus 260, what are you telling me? You're telling me that you really want to make the spread 6.5 to Oregon State, because really that's the number that you get when your spread is 6.5, not when it's 10. So that means that a lot of the money is going on Florida because a lot of people see Florida as the winner, in my opinion. And I think that plus 260 is too hard to pass up here. I'm just going to shoot my shot, and I'm taking Florida with the plus 260 in this game. Straight up win it, baby. And then I got some more bets for you guys in a moment when we get to Talkin Tickets. So there it is. There it is with the Las Vegas Bowl. So let's move forward to the LA Bowl, Mike. The LA Bowl is a good one as well, too. I don't know if Jimmy Kimmel got his name on the game this year, but I know that it was a big deal last year with Jimmy and everything like that. And from what I heard, they were trying to kind of audition for a chance at possibly getting the Rose Bowl eventually. And I just say to myself, there is no Rose Bowl if they move out of my home stadium. You know what I mean? Pretty much, we can't call it the Rose Bowl anymore. It would just be called the CIF the CFB playoff game, because first and foremost, just real quick, the tradition of the Rose Bowl is done after this last game, because what's happening now is that since they're going to expand into playoffs and things like that, they want to put the Rose Bowl at the time they want to put the Rose Bowl, college football. And they don't understand that there's a tradition to that game. It really, truly is. It coincides with the parade. There's a lot of things that go into it. And I know what the Rose Bowl committee is thinking. We've made you guys a lot of money. Stop telling us what to do with our bowl game. Seriously, we've made you guys a ton of money over the last 70 years. We were the most significant bowl for 50 years. So why do we have to submit to what you want us to do? But then they said, well, we'll just leave out the next TV deal. Then the Rose Bowl perked up and got a little, then they got with the program. You know what I mean? Because then they ain't trying to lose no money to keep the maintenance up on that old stadium. You know what I mean? Because regardless of anything, the stadium, they've had some great renovations to the stadium and everything like that. But we all know that SoFi is just the future, and it is what it is. But I don't think that you need to put the Rose Bowl there. I think that SoFi has already came up with the best solution of them all, the CFP championship game itself. You know what I mean? So, we got the LA Bowl. You got Washington State returning. They were the first. They got absolutely demolished last year by Utah State, who was my best bet of any bowl team in the bowl games last year. And we were able to hit that plus 240 in that game as well, too, because everybody's just started, just forgot that you got to give these Mountain West teams a shot, because this is more of a Super Bowl for them. They get to play in a stadium that, because Pac-12 teams get to play in NFL stadiums all the time. They truly do. And, a team like Fresno State doesn't get that opportunity. A team like Utah State doesn't get that opportunity. So when they get into this game, they really go all out, because this is really the battle of the West Coast in a sense as well, too. And I think that when it all comes down to it, Fresno State is going to do the same exact thing that was done last year by Utah State. They're going to absolutely wreck shop against WAZZU. But WAZZU might have some energy to them, Mike, because Mike Leach just passed away on Monday, and you know how much he meant to that program over there at Washington State as well, too. Even though he left them for Mississippi State, it's all good to them at the end of the day. They knew that they had a gym, and he put them in a place they had never been before, Washington State became a very watchable team. You know what I mean? Because we know we're Pac-12 guys. We sat here for plenty of years seeing Washington State absolutely embarrass themselves, them and Oregon State. So it's good to see both those teams in bowl games. So I like Fresno State with the 4, Mike. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I look at, who's happy to be here and who's kind of bummed in these bowl games, who thought that they were going to be destined for something better and who's not. Obviously LA Bowl, hard to read, right? Because of a lack of tradition. It's not like something like the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl, or definitely not like the Rose Bowl. This is almost a home game for Fresno State. They're just 3 hours away, so they don't have to travel very far. I don't know how many guys on the WAZZU team Mike Leach actually recruited or not. I think the play here is the over. I think you put it well when you said that these teams are going to give it their all. I think they put up a lot of points. I'll take over 53.
So Mike doesn't want to pick a winner. He wants to play the scoreboard. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all, sir. But I love bowl season. And I got you on the show today, Mike. This is no diss to you, Mike, but I was gonna go bowl crazy today. But I said, no. Me and Mike we got to talk NFL because we kind of missed NFL on your show yesterday. And I know that we wanted to get into the Raiders for sure yesterday. And I know we kind of wanted to get into this Purdy situation as well, too. So I said, let's just talk about bowls that are near and dear to us on the West Coast, because those will be the most significant bowls of tomorrow. But I would say this: I like the Fenway Bowl matchup. I truly do. And I'll talk about that more when we get to talking tickets. But with that, we're gonna go ahead. And I know Mike's giving me that look because he looks like he wants to get a couple swigs of that Diet Coke in real quick. So let me go ahead and let him get to that. So we're gonna take a quick break. And when I get back, we're gonna talk some more sports. So pretty much we got State of the Lakers coming up, and we got the NBA Friday night as well too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the man himself, Mr. Mike Abadir. So we'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
Man, oh man. And I still do a boxing show, but it's not Big Wave Boxing. It's the Sweet Science. So I think I need to come up with a new commercial, Mike. I can't believe a lot of this stuff is a few years old now. It's pandemic. You know what I mean? Now it's like, damn, 2 years went by pretty quickly. It truly did. So, pretty quickly, and crazy times as well, too. So, it's just, I know it's just people have to understand that it's a really tough time for a lot of folks, man. And a lot of people who do the whole, shtick about this ain't real and that ain't real, just deal with some real situations in your life, and you'll stop questioning things and just appreciate that you're here. You know what I mean, Mike?
100%, man.
You
100%.
know, seriously, I'm not gonna get too far into that because we're not here for that. So, but that's just my thing about that as well. To be humble, baby, be humble, because we are day to day, as Charles Barkley would say. Be humble. All right, so state of the Lakers. I know you don't like them, Mike. Just kidding. I just get. I know Mike's more of a I don't like the Clippers guy. You know what I mean? But that's because Mike has probably been out with friends and they're ready to help celebrate the Clippers, and the Clippers just did not finish the job. It's understandable. But Lakers tonight, they got the Nuggets. That's a good one for them. They just lost to the Celtics. I know you were happy about that because I know you're kind of a secret Celtics fan.
Yeah.
So the Celtics, but you know what? That was a Celtics Lakers game, and I was good with the effort. I was great with the effort, and I was happy that they didn't quit. And I would think that Laker fans need to respect that part about this team, is that they're not quitters. And those three future Hall of Famers are trying their absolute best to be an elite team. They just don't have any help, man. Patrick Beverly, why are you here? Kendrick Nunn, we waited a whole year for you to get this thing situated for us. You're absolutely worthless. You know what I mean? We're still thinking about how you performed against us in the finals in 2020, but we got to remember we were in a bubble. They got rid of Matt Ryan. I love that move right there, because Matt Ryan had no business being on the Lakers team, but he did hit a big shot that helped us get our first win of the season. So he had his Mr. Cooper moment. Remember that episode of Mr. Cooper, Mike, and actually, you guys don't know this, but Mark Cooper actually did play for the Warriors, and they were using the actual game the footage was actual footage of him playing with the Warriors. My cousin told me that. So, that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Even though they had to use a 3-year-old tape at the time, it was pretty cool, though. You know what I mean? And I said, the Warriors have always been a Hollywood team. What y'all talk about? Don Nelson and Tim Hardaway and all those guys, and Chris Butler. You know what I mean? So
Run TMC, baby.
Run TMC. Mike's having great memories, because that's when the Warriors, you knew what to expect from the Warriors. A whole lot of scoring, and maybe they might win, maybe they may lose, but I'm fairly entertained by this team. Now, but we're going to talk about your Warriors in a second, though, Mike. Don't worry. We got to keep it on the Lakers. But let me stick to the script. The Lakers got a game tonight. They're 11-16 on the season. They started the season 2-10. They were able to work themselves to 10-12 at this year. And I think that was the best barometer of what to expect from this Laker team. But they can't keep going on streaks like that. They can't win 5, then lose 5, win 5, lose 3. They got to find some type of clarity with this team at this moment, Mike. And I think that when you get down to the nitty-gritty, that this team will be able to put it together to get into the play-in situation. I wouldn't say get into the playoffs, but people have to seriously understand the Western Conference is not far apart right now. When you have the New Orleans Pelicans as the leader of the conference, you know that you're okay. You truly do, because once again, it's a league of streaks, and their streak is way earlier in the year. Usually, it's way later in the year. So when you're playing really well in the first of the year, you hope to sustain that when we get to February, March, and April. And a lot of times those teams can't sustain that because that's when their injuries start piling up. So I truly do feel the Lakers have a must-win game tonight. But when you're a Laker fan, what game is not a must-win game for the Lakers? You know what I mean, Mike? So pretty much tonight is it's a tough spot, but they've already played Denver this year, and they had a good game against Denver as well. And they're playing against Jokic tonight. They're playing against MPG, Jay. I mean, and then they also have your boy, my man, Jamal. So pretty much that's what you have with the Lakers tonight. So I like this matchup for the Lakers. I think that they're able to figure out a way to win this one. Real quick, Mike. Even though Mike, you don't really care too much about the Lakers, but go ahead.
Yeah, on this one, actually, I believe the line's about 1.5 points.
Right.
I'm taking the Lakers on this one,
Mm.
right? Because all the signs point to the Nuggets, and it never works out that way when all the signs point towards something, right?
Right.
So the Nuggets are 14-6 against conference opponents. The Lakers are 6-10 against conference opponents. But I think you hit it on the nail. Lakers started off the season 2-10. They've actually been more than respectable, in the last 15 games or so.
Right.
So, I think that they're a little bit undervalued here at home. And I think that the line in of itself is a little bit suspicious because you think that everybody jump all over the Nuggets. And anytime I see that, it tells me that Vegas wants to lure you to the wrong side. I'm taking the Lakers to win this game.
Right. Just like last night, Mike, everybody in their mama was Seahawks. Seahawks. That's all I heard all day. Seahawks are the play. Seahawks are the play. Even these goofy betting shows were like, yeah, I got to take the Seahawks. And I said, I've heard too many people say Seahawks today. We are in trouble. And the moment the Niners scored the first touchdown, I said, money gone.
Yeah.
Money gone.
Mm-hmm.
Let me snatch that money right off the, just like when you're at the pool table, Mike. Let me go ahead and just snatch that money real quick.
Take it.
Go ahead and just take it, man, because I knew what I signed up for, and it did not happen. The moment the Raiders got caught up in that last week too, because people, the supposed sharps were like, you could just go ahead and take the Raiders 250 on the money line. All the Vegas people,
right?
Why the hell would I do that unless I know they're going to absolutely win? I just can take the 6. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's understandable on your parlay. It's understandable, say, in a I don't care to worry about a spread situation, but in that situation with the Raiders, you never Raider yourself out the game. You never use the Raiders as a minus 250.
Yep.
You say I'm gonna trust you on the spread, or I'll just sit this one out. You know what I mean? You can't do that with the Raiders. It's not Rich. See, when Rich and them played, it was easy to bust on a 6.5 spread with the Raiders because they was going to win by 10 or better. You know what I mean? So, we're trying to get back to those days. But, yeah, Mike, you got a great point with that, man. NBA, when they put the 1.5 on a road team, they're literally telling you take the home team. You know
right.
what I mean? So
yep.
odds makers, they try to keep you confused, but that's what their job is, to throw out lines that make you think a little bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But a lot of times, though, lines makers really don't know what they want to put out until we get to close to second half of the season. That's when they have a better idea what's going on. What they're doing is they're just running numbers, and then they'll throw those numbers up there. I'm dead honest about that too. You know what I mean? And they know, okay, this is how we're going to get action and all that stuff. But that's betting 101. So we'll get to that when I do a betting 101 segment. You know what I mean? Because, Mike, I could get it. You know me. I can get into this betting thing like a straight professor, nutty.
I hear that.
But let me hurry up because we are well over right now. But I got Mike in the house, so it's all good. This isn't a regular show when I got Mike in the house. This is more of a, this is good. You know what I mean? This is where I get to talk to my guy, and we get to go ahead and he gets to break down things from his point of view. I break down things from my point of view. I don't even have my notes.
It's an honor to be with you, Pop, all the time. And it looks like the Kings are coming up here in the discussion because I'm up here in NorCal right now. There's a lot of excitement about the Sacramento Kings. They're playing some pretty good ball. It's the highest they've been in the standings in a long time after getting close to 30 games. I like what I'm seeing from the Kings, man. They're able to show that they've taken a step forward finally with some of their youth. 5.5 might be a little bit. It's a tough line, man. That's a tough line. I mean, I think the Kings are definitely like one of those teams that in Sacramento, they're a very different team. You know what I mean? Than they are on the road. So I need to think about this one a little bit. This was a little bit of a struggle for me to come up with. I want to hear your take.
Okay, in my notes, you don't have a good road team here with Sacramento, okay? But Sacramento is a really good team. And they did win their last game by a point against a tough Raptors team. And they were in the game the other night against the Sixers as well, too, against the Knicks, actually. So the Kings are really just trying to get done with this road trip. The Kings have been on the road for some time now. This was actually a 6-game stand for them as well, too, Mike. And at this point in this group, they're 2-3. So they want to finish this up with a good 500 record because they did start off the month 2-0. And for this month right now, they are 4-3. But they've lost their last 3 out of 5 while they've been on this road stand. So I think that this team is really good in a sense of the words of they've improved and they can be trusted to cover spreads. They really can. But can they be trusted against the Eastern Conference team covering the spread? They're 17-10 on the season. They're 9-7 against the East right now, Mike. So this team has played really well against the bad teams, and the Pistons are a bad team. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. They're 8-22, and they have a tendency to cover double-digit spreads, but they don't have a tendency to cover a spread that's like 5.5. Now, they did get a good win the other night in Charlotte. They scored 141 points. So I know a lot of people will probably look at this and say, hey, that was really good. But guess what? They played against 3 teams that are pretty good in a row: New Orleans, Memphis, and the Lakers, and those are all losses, Mike. So sometimes when you're playing against much better, you'll step it up in a game against a team that's kind of equal to you. And that's exactly what they did there. But this team at one point they wasn't struggling, but they're struggling now. And pretty much they are 3-4, and they've dropped their last 4 out of 6 in the month of December after getting a good win against Dallas to start the month off. But they got road woes, but they're not on the road this time around. And they actually won 2 road games this month. But the Pistons just are a team that's kind of going through the motions. They're young, and they are just, at some point they're going to start trading off veterans and things like that. So really they're just kind of, showing off talent a little bit because they are not into right now winning. They're into future winning. Cade Cunningham just went out for the season. They're the number 1 pick in the draft last year. And Duren, who they did all that maneuvering for to trade for, he's a guy that's not even getting that many minutes right now. So Detroit's a team that is really in a position where they're still rebuilding this thing. And every game they win, that's good for them. But they're really not worried about winning. They're more worried about building at this point. But I really, truly think that your Kings will not have an issue with them tonight. They're coming off of they got to rest for a day after playing a back-to-back this week. And when you get that rest that day and you're about to go home after this, you're going to go out there and play with a little bit more intensity. I think the Kings are easy money with the 5.5. It's almost like stealing tonight, Mike.
I like it. Like what I'm hearing. Let's keep it moving.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next one. That's going to be this game right here, the Celtics and the Magic. This one is a good game between 2 teams going in 2 different directions. Magic never had any hope this year, but the Magic do have a lot of young, good players moving forward. But Banchero is really is probably the first dominant number 1 pick we've had in a long time. I can't really go back and say which one because there's been so many guys that have been drafted number 1, but they made no impact. The first year. I think it's been about 10 years since we got a guy that came right in and he looks dead on an all-star. Banchero is a breath of fresh air for this Magic team this year. But at the end of the day, this team is not constructed to win a lot of ball games. And I don't think that's because they want to tank in the draft and all that stuff. It's because they have a young team and they want to invest in youth. That's the whole thing. And they know exactly where the NBA is going at this point. And that's what happens to teams that are small market. They collect pieces, assets, so then they can keep making moves to keep staying in drafts. So Orlando is a team that does have somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel. And since Bonchero's got there, they're a lot more confident of a team. You know what I mean? But they got to deal with the Celtics tonight. And the Celtics have been making teams like the Magic barbecue chicken. They don't lose to they really try to beat up on these bad teams. And that's one thing that I like about this year's Celtics team is that they don't really mess around with teams. You know what I mean? If you're not good, they're going to see that out early and they're going to crush you. You know what I mean? And it's that simple. And I think that them losing 2 in a row before they were about to lose 3 in a row to the Lakers really woke this team up. So that momentum that they had at the end of the night in LA should swing into the night. This could be a 20-point blowout or better, in my opinion. But I would much rather work on the scoreboard tonight. So I like the under in the spot because Orlando is not scoring that many points.
I like the home cooking here with the Celtics. I think they blow them out of the building.
Okay.
All right. Why don't you start off the next matchup? Because once we hit the hour mark, my laptop starts alerting me that I need to address the battery. So I'm going to step away for a quick moment so this thing doesn't die on me. And I'll pick up from the conversation on the next matchup.
Okay, so you don't want to talk Sixers, Warriors. Go ahead, man. Get your stuff.
Okay, man. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to die on you. So go ahead and start us off, bud.
If you can do it in 2 minutes, I'll run a commercial real quick and we'll come back. But
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So you guys see Mike. Let me remove him for a second. And pretty much let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we'll jump into the Warriors and the 76ers. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, and that show will be back today. And don't get mad. Don't be talking no ish either, because I got a NBA intro for it, and it's gonna be all about college basketball. There you go, Mike. Somebody got to do a straight up college basketball betting show. You know that we don't do it, and we don't do it enough. But college basketball probably gets way more action than NBA. It truly does, especially on a Saturday, man. 150 teams, 150 games going, Mike. Jeez Louise, man. It's like it's really like going. It's really a buffet. It truly is. You know what I mean? Like, what should I go get? You know what I mean? What should I get? You know what I
Lots
mean?
of choices.
You could have 17 pick sixes and one of them might hit.
Lots of choices.
Lots of choices and lots of jackpots. All right. So your Warrior, Mike, I don't think anybody in the Bay is claiming the Warriors right now. They are absolute garbage on the road. This team is 2-13 on the road, Mike. 3-12 against the spread on the road, Mike. Where did the defending champions go when it comes to being in road games? Yes, they're 14-15 on the season, but they are absolutely incredible at home and they are absolutely dreadful on the road. And what did I tell you on the show, on your show, Mike? That they had to figure out who's off the team, Draymond or Jordan. And you see it's not working. And Draymond is getting so bad that he literally got a fan kicked out the game the other night because he just was talking a little trash to him. And I thought Draymond was thick-skinned and all that stuff. And then he threatened the dude. And then goes and gets a ref to kick him out the game. Wow. You know he's not from Modesto.
Definitely not, man.
You know, that's a Auburn Hills move right there. You know what I mean? Since he's from Michigan,
Absolutely.
it's the suburbs, you know. So pretty much the Warriors aren't good, Mike. Let's just keep it real. They're not good right now. It's a bad. Mike, it's not Michael Jackson bad either.
Definitely not Michael Jackson bad, man.
It's more like Tito bad. You know what I mean? So pretty much this team is real helter-skelter, in my opinion, and they got a tough one tonight. They've moved up to a 10-point dog tonight. No Steph for sure. Steph is probably done for the next month. We probably won't see Steph till the All-Star game. Be honest with you, Mike, because he was balling too the other night. I think he had about 35, 37 points before he hurt his shoulder. And then they wind up losing by 6. And they've been swept by the Pacers this year. Just go ahead and put that in your notes as well, too. They're not good, Mike. And I told you guys this coming into the season that cockiness was going to catch up to them. But it's still early. And we know the Warriors are the type of team that can reel off 15 in a row before we even blink. So it's just – they just got to get out of 2022 like me. That's it. You know, 2022, once it's over, fresh start, we move forward from there. That's what my thinking with the Warriors is. But all in all, let me get down to really the end all be all for this. And let's see, we got some baseball news real quick. White Sox signed Andrew Benintendi, Mike, 5-year, $75 million deal.
You know, I didn't think that their lineup was really the problem, but in Benintendi, they get a good contact hitter. You know, he performed pretty well when he went to the pinstripes, so that tells you that he's mentally strong. I think it's a nice move. It's not like a guy that's going to carry you to a championship, but he's a guy that can perform on the way to a championship. I think it's a good move for the White Sox.
Right, and I think where we're at with this part of free agency in baseball is we're at the point to where teams will now let's make a deal. You know what I mean, Mike? Let's make a deal. We're not paying you $100 million, bro. That's just, you know, we're not doing that, but we're going to pay you some money. You know what I mean? We'll give you some life-changing money, but just, man, I wish we would have talked about Carrera a little bit, but we'll save that for another time. But I just really feel like a lot of these guys got overpaid, bro. I'm gonna be that honest with you. $350 million, $300 million. Judge didn't get overpaid. He got rewarded, but I think Carrera got overpaid big time because you're giving these guys 13-year deals, man. And I think that all in all, they're only going to get a good 5 years from these guys. Even Aaron Judge might give you only a good 6-7 years before the injuries start really piling up on him. You know what I mean? Like, are we really paying these guys at 40? Keep it real, Mike. Are you going to really be paying that guy when they start batting 175? Like, seriously, you know what I mean? But all in all, what are your thoughts on this game?
Back to the Warriors game here. I'm going to take a look at I'm going to make it simple. 76ers win, but don't cover.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Should be a good one. It should be a good one. All right, let's move on. Pistons, Cavs, division game tonight. Pistons are good. Pacers and the Cavs. I said Pistons. I'm sorry. Pacers are a team that really doesn't want to go away. They started off the season horrible, but they've been playing much better basketball in October and November, Mike. And then, you got Cleveland, the team with the best record at home this year. They only lost twice at home, and they're playing great basketball at home. But the last time they were at home, they wound up losing at home to Sacramento, and that was like last Friday too. So I think that this one right here, since it's a divisional game, this one is going to be a lot tougher than it looks on paper. And I truly do feel like this one can possibly go. What do I have it as? I think I have it as an under tonight. So I think that this game is more about who gets started fast in this spot tonight. And it's a divisional game. So in all honesty, it can go either way. People can say what they want, but it can go either way. And I like the Pacers with the +8. Halliburton is an all-star, and it's that simple. And I really feel like the Kings really missed on that guy. Even though Keegan is an absolute monster. Keegan is probably my rookie of the year from Sacramento. So I like Indiana tonight with the +8.
For me, this is a no-touch game, man. I really don't know where to take this one. I wouldn't be able to side with any one position. Wouldn't want to mislead the public. For me, this is a no-touch.
Mike, you don't want to mislead the public? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Skip and Shannon do it every day.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Right. And
I ain't them.
Right. And Jason McIntyre does it every day too. That guy said, I will put my car payment on the bill Saturday. Stop talking. Please stop talking. That's a divisional game against a team that already beat them this year. Don't be having people lose the mortgage because you are that confident in this team. Just because every time you guys get to talking about these teams a little bit too much, then they lose. You know what I mean? I think that they're trying to play the whole weather angle into the situation. It's like, no, don't say anything. It's a 7-point spread, boss. You know what I mean? Once again, you are directing people to play minus 290 money line, minus 300 money line, because that's where that money line's at. Because everybody pounding the window for the Bills money. Even off my show, we have Miami +7. Even though I have the Bills winning, I still have Miami covering. It's going to be a tough game. It's because it's on NFL Network. One of those games never not tough. You know what I mean? Like, and exciting. If you think anything's scripted, watch a game on the NFL Network. All right, so you got the Blazers and the Mavs. Luka Doncic is the NBA's leading scorer right now as well, too, Mike. He is absolutely cooking. I think it's 35 a game at this point. Where'd Raider go?
Raiders, I had to let him go, man. I was sizzling hot from his fur.
Man, it is cold as it is. Raider is helping you out, bro, but it's all good.
You'll trying.
You'll need him later on. So, Raiders probably sitting there right now like, don't be over here trying to pet and cuddle later.
Yeah, he's looking at me kind of mad right now.
Right. He ready to move in. He's ready to move back to L.A.
Hey, yeah. Oh, he's more than ready.
All right, so let me hurry up because Mike's giving me that look right now like we are well over right now. So, Mike, what do you like with the Blazers and the Mavs tonight?
Wow, this is a good matchup. Two teams that are closer in record than it appears. Dallas 14-14, Portland 16-12. The Mavs are really poor away from home. But they're at home. So I kind of have my notes in reverse here. Okay, so they're 11-5 at home, and Portland has been a good road team. They're 9-6 on the road, so that's what makes this one a really, really interesting game. I'm looking forward to watching maybe a little bit of this game tonight, in addition to some other stuff, because I think this one's going to come down to the wire. I would say I would slightly lean towards the Blazers getting points.
I like that. I like the Blazers getting points, but you know what I like more? I like the way that this team plays at home. I'm gonna be dead honest with you, Mike. They really play a real natural game, in my opinion, and I think that this one right here will wind up being sorry about that. I'm just over here trying to figure out this next clip, but
I thought this matchup had you stumped.
Yeah, what you call it? But this one right here is easy for me. I think that the Mavs win this game tonight, and I'm taking them on the money line. I think it'll be a close game, but I truly do think that there's a spot that's for this team, and I think that everything when it's all said and done will work out for this team moving forward this season, and this is a good game for them. Blazers are really good, but the Blazers been playing really, really whatever teams lately. So I do like where we're going with this one. So I'm going to take the Mavs with the minus 165 tonight on the money line. Yeah, I'm spending a little bit, but it's all good.
There you go.
I'm spending a little bit. 165, you can chase that all day to me, Mike. 165. Yep. 170, 180, all that stuff, you can chase that all day. But when you over here chasing 300s and 400s and then you try cry wolf, miss me with all that, man, because you thought you had a show thing. And you could have just
like when you put a big show bet on a 1-9 or something,
Right. And then if you do win it, you bragging up and down the road. I took the money line, but it's minus 400, so you had to put up damn near $1,000 to get something you like. It's cool. It's your money. Do what you want with it, but don't come crying a river when they lose. It's because ain't no guarantees, brother. All right, so that's where we have it at, Mike. Let's go ahead and jump into talking tickets. And Mike might be mad at me because I kept talking tickets kind of away from him today. I know he usually likes me to put talking tickets to see what I'm on.
It's my favorite segment.
All right, so here we are. This is tonight, Mike. Bethune-Cookman kicks us off. HBCU, brother. HBCU has been such a topic of discussion lately, Mike. Just like, damn, Dion.
I like them getting some love.
Hey, but that coach was right. He said Dion wasn't HBCU. So, coach had a point. He said he ain't HBCU because they knew he was trying. Man, I'm not going to get on Dion because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, man. See, Mike is an NFL agent, so Mike knows where I'm coming from. Sometimes when you're dealing with your favorite athletes, guys, especially when you meet them, they might not be the coolest person on earth like TV has made them.
You got to lower your expectations a little bit,
You got to lower your expectations a little bit, especially with Dion. Don't even attempt to ask him for an autograph if you see him in public. Don't do that. Seriously. Mike.
Unless you like rejection.
Unless you love rejection and somebody coming back with some bullshit to say to you, then, I'm telling you, if y'all really approach DI, y'all will be back on Twitter. I can't. I'll stop, Mike. I'll stop. I'll save my story, Dion's story, for your show because it's on the radio.
Okay.
All right. Plus 10.5, Georgetown. I'm only bringing it up because we got the approval for the Super Bowl this morning as well, too. So that's where I met Dion at, like when I was doing media week. All right. Nice. We got Manhattan -5 tonight. I love money making Manhattan, but they're in a bad situation right now, Mike, because the coach actually got fired a month before the season started, and most of the team left. So they're literally running with walk-ons right now. So they're doing all right. But Manhattan -5, and it's like, then why are you tagging them? because it's money making Manhattan. They make me money. So I'm about to take Manhattan with the -5 tonight. And then we got Princeton, who might be the best team in the Ivy League this year. I know it sounds crazy right now, but Princeton looks like they could be the champion of this conference. But I would say that out of all the small school conferences, Ivy League might be one of the toughest this year as well, too. But I like the way Princeton has approached this season, Mike. And then you got Florida Gulf Coast, who got a monster win to start the year off over USC. I think that them being a dog in this spot really presents them as it's really a good spot for them because they're going against a team that they should beat up on. And then I finish up with Austin Peay. Austin Peay is a team that could possibly win their game as well, too, tonight, Mike. But I like the +8.5. And Georgetown, man, step it up for me tonight. That's a conference game tonight for those boys as well, too. They're playing against Xavier tonight. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it shakes out. But 60-1 ticket, Mike, how you like me now?
I love it, man. I love it. Very East Coast centric ticket here. You got a couple teams. You just need them to win. A couple teams, you're getting a lot of points. And then you're positioning yourself with the two favorites that you like to win big. I think that's a good way to build the ticket. 60-1, beautiful thing.
And it's so funny because they always be like, good luck to you. I'd be like, the ticket's for you. It's for all of us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
60-1. You none of y'all constructing tickets like that. I've seen people put their parlays up. Yeah, man. You see me. I just hit it. And it's a 10-1, Mike, and they put $5 on it. Like, good for you, buddy. You know what I mean? I should have bet it more. Yeah, it's okay to bet more. All you got to do, don't go over $20. You're fine. Dude, I'm giving you $1,200 with a $20 bet. Come on, man. Don't make it hard on yourself, right, Mike?
Anytime you could turn 20 into 1K,
yeah,
you gotta like it.
And somebody look at this bet, Mike, and they're gonna put $5 on it. And be like, I should have did more if they win tonight. Yeah, okay. You're gonna get $300 off of $5 is nice too, though.
Look, unless you can't afford to lose, drop that 20.
Drop the damn 20, okay? All right, minimum 10. Give me your 10 at least. You know,
look, if you drop a 20, that means that you can. Basically, what you're saying is, I think I could hit more than one of these every 60 times I try it.
Right.
So if you could say hit 2 or 3 or 4 of them in the next 60, that's not impossible. I think that's doable.
Right.
You're way, way ahead, man. Way ahead. So I'll leave it at that.
We've been doing this 7 years, Mike. All right. NBA super high 5, 20-1, 5.5 on the Kings tonight. Over 221 on the well, that's not Kings and 76ers, y'all. That's gonna be the Warriors and the 76ers. So don't get all over me. You guys know it's over 221 with the Warriors and Sixers tonight. I said that I was taking the Pacers with the +8 tonight as well, too. Then we have the under 225 in the Magic Celtics game as well. And Mike likes the Celtics on the 12.5 tonight. And then we have the Mavs -165, but Mike likes the Blazers tonight with the points. So,
but that could both win. They could both win. The Mavs can win, and Portland could get 4 points and win as well.
Right. And so then that's where we have it at. And Mike said that he liked the under in the Kings game, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's where we have it at. That's where we're at in the NBA. Now, this is where we're going when we go to the Las Vegas Bowl tomorrow, because that game is before the LA Bowl. I like, as I said before, I like Florida +260. Also like Florida first half +6. Then I also like the over 10.5 first quarter. And that's where I'm going with that one, Mike. Do you have any bets that you have for this game?
No, sir. I think I'm intrigued by your end game wagering first half, first quarter business here. So I'm just taking it all in, brother.
All right, we see. So he said, but Mike advised to bet the money line on Oregon State, though. It's okay to bet money lines and big money lines in college games. It is. It's fine.
Because I don't do the whole like I'm gonna bet 265 to win just $100. I'm gonna use it to prop up my parlay. So if I'm getting like 8-1 in the parlay, I'm kind of like, you know what? I kind of want to get this to 15 or 20-1. Let me find 3 or 4 favorites that I think must win to beef up that parlay payout.
Right. But that's not how casinos are made in Vegas, though.
Definitely not. There's a reason that there's all those towers and buildings and hotels.
Right. The reason why is because of table games. I'm getting tired of that, sports better. Stop thinking that sports betting moves anything in Vegas. If it was up to them, they would they would put our asses on the corner. You know that, Mike. Because believe it or not, a lot of sports books are getting smaller and smaller in casinos, dude. It's because the rah-rah situation. You know what I mean? They don't want to, they love your energy and your enthusiasm, but dude, they can't have you in there all day just with one beer watching one game with one ticket, and that ticket was already used by noon of the day. You know what I mean?
No doubt, man.
Some of them are, and like the one at Bally's literally became a homeless shelter after a while. You know what I mean? Like, dude, seriously, is anybody even in here betting? Betting or sleeping? One or the other. All right, Fresno State tomorrow, Mike. I know that's going to be a big one for all my people in Modesto and Stockton. They are going to be going hard for their Bulldogs because aren't the Bulldogs the home team of that area? Modesto and Stockton.
Yes, sir.
So Fresno State. They're their actual redheaded stepchild of the California Powers. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
It's Fresno State, man. They've always been solid, man. They always picked up everybody USC didn't want. All right, so -4 Fresno State, under 26.5 first half. Fresno State money line first quarter. Mike, do you have anything to add?
No, I think I'm interested in this ball game. Let's see how it plays out.
All right, and here we go. They're 87-1 Saturday pick CFB Bowl Saturday PK6, Mike. We got Louisville -125, Florida +260, Fresno State with the -4. We got the over 45 with Rice and Southern Mississippi, and I like Rice to actually win that game as well too. Varv might have cursed these boys, Mike, with
taking all that money.
Yeah, with all that bad press that he's been giving them. And then I like the over 64.5 with SMU and BYU. SMU can't stop a nosebleed right now. That team is absolutely dreadful on defense. And then North Texas, I don't have North Texas winning the game, but I have North Texas covering the game. So that should be a good one against Boise State. Give me that 87-1, Mike. That looks like money to me.
That's got to be one of the highest lines that I've seen you put together when I'm on the show. I like it. Let's hit it.
All right, Mike. So Mike's giving me the signal that it's time for him to move on with his Friday. It's time for me to move on as well too, because I got hopefully in the next 30 minutes to an hour or so we'll have Hoops 101 up for you guys. So be ready for that. And pretty much, man, Mike, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be here with you, man. I like the tickets you put together. Let's win a few bucks, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And hopefully we'll get you back next week. But you can hear me on Mike's show on Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes, sir.
With Voice America. And, you guys make sure to tune in. And you guys can listen to the show this weekend as well, too, because it'll be all over the place. They'll be playing it back and forth that weekend on the weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you guys make sure to tune into that. And, Mike, give me your handles real quick before we wrap this up.
Best place to find me is Twitter at Mike Abadir on the bird, Abadir, ABADIR at the bird.
Don't say too much though, because Elon is over here taking away. You can't tweet too much right now. Elon's taking away profiles right now.
Hey man, you just can't tell people where he's going.
Hey, and you can't sit up there and have a 30-minute tirade about him, Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, but he was giving out the location of his plane and stuff. People came and tried to sideswipe his son, thinking it was Elon because of the plane tracker. So I could see why Elon's a little bit bent out of shape about this. But anyways.
You talking about the kid who put it out, right? The teenager? Or are you talking about
I think Elon put out something regarding there's a plane tracker for Elon so that everybody knows like where he's going, as if it's like so important. So it tracks his private plane's movement. And so they put it out there. Oberman, others retweeted it, talked about it, etc. And when the plane landed, people knew that he was there, but he wasn't. It was his son, the kid. And so somebody drove up, tried to assassinate Elon Musk, but they found the kid there.
Oh, wow.
So Elon's gone apeshit.
Okay, so somebody tried to pull a Scarface on him.
Yeah, yeah. If you go back and look at his tweets, you'll kind of see the timeline of how it happened. Very, very interesting stuff, man. I don't wish harm on anybody, especially a kid. Not cool. I don't care how much you dislike him or how much you think he's allowing truth to prevail and you're mad about that for some weird reason. Hey, man, there's always more behind the making of that sausage. Don't be the sheep and follow the bandwagon. Look for yourself and find out what really is going on. That's what I'd recommend for you folks.
Okay, me and Mike are pretty much putting our we're pretty much putting our applications in for whoever wants to leave Earth. You know what I mean? Because you guys get a little bit too much for me. Come on, man. Y'all can't hate rich people that much.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why they got a voice, because they got a lot of money. When you got a lot of money, you can do a lot of talking.
You can go to Mars, right?
Right. You can do a lot of talking. You can do a lot of you can do a lot of pissing people off because you wake up with your day being beautiful every day. The person talking wakes up with their day being happy that they can still eat some top ramen and some have a bill to pay, have a roof over their head.
Exactly right.
Y'all are not the same. All right, so there it is. I thank my brother Mike Abadir for coming on in. We're going to get him on the show sometime next week, hopefully next Friday again, but we'll try to keep it to an hour as well too. Okay, Mike, I promise. All right.
Pleasure to be with you, my man. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm out of here. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, live with one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.